Hello everybody and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program, where last episode we cleaned up all of our contracts and we are almost complete with this series for right now. So we have one more thing that we need to do here, and well, actually kind of two things. We need to put another large asteroid tank up and get our big asteroid mover done, and then we need to move a big asteroid and get that mined out. That is the goal here. So let's go ahead and launch this guy, and let's get the actual mover done here. So we'll lift this off, and we'll see how that ends up going. I have crashed one of these previously, so we'll see. We'll see. It should be fine. Throttle up, SAS on, and off we go. So we will start heading over to get horizontal speed here in a moment. About now, I think. There we go. And let's just pull on over that node. Cool. This is an extremely heavy lift vehicle, of course. Like, ridiculously heavy lift. But that's fine. We've got a good amount of liquid fuel here. No oxidizer, but that's okay. So I'm just continuing to pull this guy on over. And we're getting a good amount of speed here. But this is the last one of these tanks that we have to move in. We did drift up a little bit, and now we're drifting down a little bit. I'm trying to make sure that that's not a thing. When are we going to have stage separation? In about 20 seconds. Okay, so I'm going to sit here at 45 degrees. And we are going to then lock to prograde, now that that's caught up. And we're going to want to stick at prograde basically the rest of the time here. Okay. Switching that around. Stage separation is good. Very nice. That was a beautiful stage separation, actually. So we are currently at an apoapsis height of about 45 kilometers. That's looking decent. I'm going to switch into orbital mode. There we go. And we're just going to burn orbital prograde for the moment. Time to apoapsis is going up, so that is fine. I want to head over at this point, ideally, to the horizon. It doesn't really want to hold attitude here too much, but, I mean, that's kind of the way that this particular rocket works. So that's fine. We should be reasonably okay here. Keeping an eye on our apoapsis height here. Looks good. We'll be ditching our nose cone soon enough. The nose cone was something that was added in the stream when we did the 7 or 6 previous. So that's something that was added not necessarily in this series, but that's fine. 65 kilometer apoapsis height. And just adjusting our heading ever so slightly here. There we go. Our apoapsis is now officially in space. And we've got about 45 seconds of burn left on this. 80 kilometers. We'll hold it here, and I'm going to go ahead and ditch our nose cone. There we go. Fantastic. And we will come around here. We have a good amount of horizontal speed right now. So we will come around here and do this number. We need to circularize it. Or, well, we don't need to, but we're going to circularize it. Cool. And we'll head over to that maneuver node. We're still in the atmosphere right now. So we will time warp a little bit. I'm not going to be time warping when this thing comes back to us. It's actually going to miss. Cool. We're not going to have an impact there. That's what I was hoping for. Okay. We're now officially in space, so we will extend our photovoltaic panels so that we don't run out of power here. There we go. And let's get this burn ready to go. 30 seconds. 20, 10, and 3, 2, 1, burn. And there we are in orbit. Well, there we are in orbit. Okay, I overshot slightly. This is fine. So we are going to set the engineer mover as our target. And we're going to need to change our inclination by 0.8 degrees. So at this descending node, we will burn normal 0.8 degrees. About like that. 29.7 meters per second. I'm going to go ahead and thrust limit these engines down to like 5%. Actually, like 10% was what I found that I liked in the stream. So we'll go to 10%. And there we go. And 10%. Cool. So we'll position for this burn. And that's going to be here in about 2 minutes. Fantastic. We'll go ahead and warp. And that burn will be in about 1 minute now. Let's continue our warp. 30 seconds. 20. 10. And 3, 2, 1, burn. Cool. So we are heavily thrust limited here because our maneuvers are going to be substantially less thrust required at this point. So that's great. Okay. Last little bit here. Honestly, this is probably good enough. Yeah, that's good enough. Okay, so we'll now link up with the engineer mover and see how close we can fine-tune ourselves an encounter. That's not very close at all. We may have to go in orbit here. Yes, we definitely do. Actually, several orbits, because that's going around the long way. Okay, so there's that. Do we need one more orbit? I mean, even that's only 2 hours, right? So we actually don't. I don't want that. There we go. We'll get rid of that normal burn. That was completely undesired. And something like here. Okay, so that's 8.2 kilometers. Not too bad, realistically. Okay, 2 kilometers is what we saw there. Let's see about tossing in a little bit of anti-radial. Down to 1.5. Okay, we see 1.4 here, but it's going to need some normal, I think. That's quite a lot of normal. I don't think we need that much normal. I think we need to change our timing here. 1.3. That's slightly better. I saw 0.9 there. 0.7. 0.8. I want to fine-tune this down a little bit further than this. Yeah, 0.8. 0.7. 0.6. It's good enough. Okay, so we will set up for that maneuver. And that maneuver will be in quite a number of orbits. So that's going to be in about 3 hours here. That's fine. No big deal there. And 49.4 meters per second. I like it. So we will align for that and warp on around. 2 more hours. 1 more hour. And we're pretty far off of the actual position here. I'm not hugely surprised by that. We'll get in position for that. We've got about 20 more seconds before the burn. 15. 10. 5. Okay, we're not quite going to be aligned here, but that's okay. We'll use our gimbaling to help us with that turn. And it's going to be a little bit awkward, for sure. But we'll see how that goes. 4, 3, 2, 1. Now-ish. Okay, how close are we? 1.1 kilometers. Honestly, that is good enough. 48.9 meters per second. Okay, we will add in a maneuver here for timing. That was, what was that again? 48.9? Okay. We'll add that maneuver. 48.9. And this is going to be in target retrograde. And we'll just warp around to about here. Cool. And obviously, this is... ignore this. We're just using this for timing. So we'll warp around to there, and that'll give us a little bit of time to flip around to target retrograde. We are pretty slow to turn, which is fully expected here. And there we go. We've got about a minute 20 here. Now we've got about a minute. 40 seconds. Okay. So we're pretty well aligned here. We've got 20 seconds left. I'll just stick with physics warp for the moment. That suddenly got very laggy. Did it just load in the... Yes, it did. Okay. That explains it. 3, 2, 1, and 0. We don't actually care about this. We want pure target retrograde. Okay. Whenever this thing loads in, it immediately gets exceedingly laggy, and as far as I can tell, there's not too much we can do about that. It just is what it is. Okay. 5 meters per second, and we're just going to do something kind of like this. Okay. We'll need to try to get that a little closer maybe, but 4, 3, 2, 1. Good enough. Okay, we will flip around to pointing at target. Physics warping is awkward at this point. There's no doubt about that. But there's nothing here that should be crackeny. It should all be pretty strapped down. So no problem whatsoever there. And we will bring this guy on in at about 5 meters per second or so right now. We'll need to flip back around. And that'll be okay. Fantastic. So there's target retrograde. And we can see here we're going to be shooting past it a little bit, but that's reasonably expected. I just want to continue here for a bit. Man, it's so awkward. It constantly moves around as we physics warp and such. Yeah, very awkward indeed. But we will then go ahead and make a slightly closer approach here soon. So let's kill this relative velocity. A little bit faster on that one, I think. Okay, now we'll point towards target. And we'll get a little bit closer. I want to be ideally like 50 meters out or so. Oh, hey, we're starting to get some sunlight here. That's nice. Let's go ahead and physics warp our turn here. Hello, sun. Fantastic. This thing is very taxing. There's no doubt about that. It's very expensive, too. Okay, so we're going to align correctly at the target here. We can't physics warp from here. We can just slowly turn. Cool. 3 meters per second. And 4 meters, or 0.4 meters per second, rather. We will start to head on in over this way. And this time I'm going to go in at about 1.5. We'll flip around to target retrograde, and it's very slow. No doubt about that. But that's why we're going in at only 1.5 meters per second. And it looks like we're going to be targeting the port that's on this far side. So we'll make our way in very, very close here and kill our relative velocity, and then we'll try to get this all lined up, and hopefully that will do the trick. And then we'll be able to bring our engineer back here after we get that strutted up. So that would be great. Man, I really want a physics warp here, but we just kind of can't, because that's going to change where our position of this thing is. I mean, it would go back when we stop to the physics warp, but I feel like that breaks things. I don't know. It probably doesn't, but I feel like it does. We're just about flipped around to target retrograde at this point. Okay. Once we arrive there, I am going to time warp a little bit here. Here in just a moment. About now. Man, it caused it to jump like that. It did it again. That's bizarre. I'm gonna not do that anymore. I feel like that's really weird. Okay. So we are going to come on in here and, well, actually, we could continue to time warp. It didn't jump that time. Fascinating. I have no explanation for this. We're going to flip back to correctly going target retrograde. But very soon now, we're going to want to stop this momentum and try to line up a bit. But we're not quite there yet. We're only 130 meters out right now, but we can definitely see we're coming in at a slightly awkward angle. And let's go ahead and kill this momentum. 1 meter per second. 3, 2, 1, 0. Okay. So for right now, I want to bring the camera up over here. I don't know why this thing causes such huge frame drops. It really shouldn't. But we are going to go ahead and point at target. And this turn is going to be one of the longest parts of this. That's for sure. At least it feels like it's going to be for me. Oh boy. This is a speedy process. But we're almost there now, so that's good. We'll get this guy rotated here in a moment. And that'll be great. We're about 120 meters out, but sure. We're going to need to align this a little bit better, but for now, this is probably close enough. So, I don't actually mean to time warp. We're going to switch over here. We are going to control from this port. And then we are going to target this. And we're going to turn over to that target. This is also very slow to turn. This is incredibly heavy, and it does have a bunch of reaction wheels on it. But it is incredibly heavy. Okay. So let's get this aligned approximately. Approximately. Getting closer. This is actually aligning relatively nicely. Cool. Let's stop this spin that we've got going on here. And let's just move in up here. Okay. Can we hold this attitude, please? Rather than, you know, spinning like this. That would be nice. Just hold that attitude for the time being. Okay. And we will lock on that target. Actually, we should go to target retrograde here and kill our relative velocity again. Man, it picks up that spin instantly whenever SAS is on. And I hate it. It was doing that previously, too. Okay, we're going to kill our relative velocity here. Right about now. There we go. And we'll head back towards the target. I'm going to kill our relative motion, or not really relative motion, but I'm going to kill our turn there so that we can get back to the target a little bit faster. We're a little ways out, there's no doubt about that one, and we're going to have to roll a little bit because of the stations roll. But that's fine. We will get into position here. This is mostly going to be a get closer, because I don't expect to actually get this docked up on this attempt. So we'll position over this way. And we will start moving in here at about 0.5 meters per second. Okay. So you can see here our velocity is off, but that's fine. Let's go ahead and warp in a little bit here. Okay. Yeah, our velocity is drifting like really, really fast. And I'm going to try to alter that a bit with RCS, but we're very heavy and our RCS thrusters are not very good. I'm trying. It's not succeeding. Okay. So with that not being successful, we're going to start flipping around to anti-target. And we're going to have to just get closer and align again. I figured that that would end up being the case with us being like 130 meters out, but that's fine. So our motion vector is like this way, I think, which isn't necessarily ideal, but it'll be okay. We just need to get turned around here, and then we can warp a bit. That's the goal. Man, this reaction wheel is slow, but this is also a ludicrous amount of fuel, so it makes sense. Cool. So we will get around to not actually anti-target. That's not actually where I wanted to go. This was just approximately where I wanted to go. I actually wanted to get to target retrograde. And we'll just kill that relative, or kill the spin motion that we had there, because it wasn't taking us to exactly the right place. And we will move that on over. And we'll warp for a bit until we're about as close as we think we're going to be. But yeah, this motion vector is really awkward, isn't it? It is. Well, we'll just hold here for a bit, and yeah, we'll get a little closer. That's going to start losing efficiency very soon, though. And so we're going to position and kill our relative velocity. We'll line up again as soon as we can here. But we need to get even closer, I think. Okay. There's our relative velocity killed. Now we'll flip around to point at target. Oh, I just realized this one has the solar panels on the wrong side. That's kind of funny. We can always flip that around. That's okay. Not a huge deal there. So let's get pointed at the target here. We are definitely much closer, so that's good. That means that our relative motion won't be quite as disparate, which is absolutely fantastic. That's entirely what we want here. So let's get this pointed at about 63 meters. Not too bad. We're definitely picking up some relative motion, but that's to be expected. And let's switch on around here and point at target. Okay. And hope that we don't pick up our spin going this direction this time. It looks like we're not. We're just rolling it over, I think. So that's good. Okay. Let's get that orientation going. We'll switch back to stability assist here pretty soon, I think, but this actually looks like it's going okay. So we'll just position here. I want to roll this guy to be about like so. That was a little over-rolled, but we'll burn this in as we roll and go in at about 0.4 meters per second. Sounds good. Okay, so you can see here we are once again going to be a bit off. And once again, I'm going to attempt to use RCS to compensate for that. But we're so heavy. We're so ludicrously heavy. We're likely going to impact the actual vehicle here and bounce on it, which is fine and not the worst thing. Okay, this RCS is doing basically nothing. So we're just going to point back in here. And yeah, we're likely going to have some issues here. But that's fully expected. This thing is just very, very difficult to maneuver. Docking forces do basically nothing to it. RCS does basically nothing. It's pretty awful. Okay, looking at that motion vector there, we're gonna need to kill our relative velocity, I think. And I want this guy to turn its SAS off. Thanks. Okay. Yep. We're drifting a lot this way right now, and that's just because of our relative motions. We could just burn more towards target. If I could turn this thing faster, that's what I'd do. If I could turn this thing faster, it would be a lot easier. But as it is, it's awkward. We would have to burn, like, up over this direction. Like so. Actually, there we go. Okay, let's just warp that in a little bit. And yeah, you can see right now it's drifting the other way now. So for now, that's okay. We will attempt to line these up. We're at 0.6 meters per second, so I'm not expecting to break anything, per se. But can you not do that, thanks? Okay, it's just completely forgetting to turn. So we might blow up this solar panel, or some of these solar panels here. We'll see what happens. This is a very awkward angle, and with our inability to turn, it's always going to be a really awkward angle, right? So at this point, let's freeze that physics. Whoa, 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 whoa. I hit that button way too many times. Where are we? 1.4 kilometers out. Okay. That was exciting. I hit that button way too many times. That was entirely my own fault. We'll bring it in again. It's fine. We've got plenty of Delta V here. I meant to hit the stop warping button, and instead I hit the warp harder button. Okay. We'll kill the relative velocity, and we'll come in again. There we go. So yeah, the main problem here is that this thing just really doesn't like to turn. And that's just because it's so much weight. If we could maneuver it easier, this would be a whole lot simpler. Or if we could change our thrust vectoring with I'm just gonna go in at like 10 meters per second here. If we could change our thrust vectoring with our or not really a thrust vectoring, but our actual vector, our trajectory with our RCS, that would be very convenient. Sadly, we can't, but it's okay. We'll get flipped around here. We'll come in again. Cool. Okay, we are flipped around now. What is our actual distance here? About 500 meters. Actually, this is looking pretty decent. Okay, This is not a bad approach. Gonna slow us down a little bit. In fact, a lot. Okay. Down to about 1 meter per second right now. Actually, let's completely kill it at this point. Okay. I overshot that ever so slightly, but that's fine. And let's flip it on around. We need to come in at a much better angle. So I need to not point directly at the towards target because we can't adjust it with our RCS. I'm used to being able to do that. We simply can't in this case. So we're going to bring this on in. As soon as we get flipped here. And we'll align the station. But yeah, the major problem here is we just have a very hard time controlling this much mass. It's very, very difficult. Okay. So interestingly, this is also basically our target retrograde. That's probably very good, actually. Okay, I'm just going to set up our roll a little bit here. There we go. It bounced right back to where it was. Let's set up our roll to be about here. There we go. Switch over to the station and have the station align target, not anti-target. Cool. So we're basically aligned here. And let's make our way in very gently here. Okay. That actually looks pretty good. And this, we can adjust with our RCS. I love it. We're going to head in ever so gently here. There we go. And this looks much, much better. We'll need to adjust our vectoring here, our trajectory. There we go. We'll have to continually adjust that on the way in. And I'm going to keep us at 0.2 meters per second. This is going to be a lengthy process. No doubt about that. RCS, please. There we go. Cool. Gonna warp us in a little bit here. Okay, we're down to 0.1. So I burn us up to 0.2. There we go. Going to adjust our trajectory here. There we go. Okay, trajectory needs to be adjusted again. It really wants to drift off of that node. Okay. Very slowly and carefully here. Let's head in. And need to adjust the trajectory one more time. Well, at least one more time. There we go. Okay, back on target. And let's warp in a bit. Man, it really wants to drift off of that. Okay, let's just burn in really gently there. And continually adjust this. This would be so much easier if this wasn't so heavy of a payload, but that's fine. Okay. 0.3 meters per second. Let's go. So far, looking good. in theory. And these solar panels aren't wrong. I don't know why I thought they were. They're actually not. Okay. So far, so good. We're going to need one last trajectory adjustment here. There we go. And I think we're good. Let's bring this thing in once and for all. I'm not sad to be done with this project, I'll be honest. It's quite a project, no doubt about it. But we'll dock this on in. This should definitely dock first try. And there we go. Beautiful. We'll pin this open. We'll move all of our fuel in here. And then we'll jettison this portion. This is actually completely full. So that's perfect. We'll now jettison this. And we need Kerbals to EVA here. Because we need to put on the struts. So we'll let go here, and Kerbals will come on down. Which of these is the new one? Over here? No. Over on the far side, I think. Which one is the new one? This top one, actually. That's the one that it is. Okay. So Kerbals, come on over here. And, no, it isn't. It's this top one? Yes, it's this top one. Okay. Fantastic. So Kerbals, come on over, and we'll just make ourselves a strut mess here, and it'll be fine. So we will do some of this nonsense. Connecting here to here. Cool. Okay, Kerbals. Come on down. There you go. Cool. We'll connect this to here. This to here. If the autosave doesn't crash anything. And that strut cannot be disconnected, but we can connect this strut to something. Okay. It really doesn't want to connect up over here. Come on, Kerbals. Stop drifting that way, please. Thank you. Oh, no. Stop going that way, Kerbals. There you go. Okay. We'll just connect this over here. I guess that works. That is definitely not where I clicked that to go, but sure. I guess we'll have a connection there. We were planning to have that connected, just not right there, so that's fine. This can go here. This can go here. Okay, and then this would go here. I just want to make sure that these parts are going absolutely nowhere. There we go, and one more here. Fantastic. We'll strut this in over here, if we can, which we can't. Kerbals, can you not weld right now? Thanks. No, this is not the direction you're supposed to go. Stop it, Kerbals. Stop it. Gotta love that weld animation, just completely input locking you. Okay, so we'll just put this, like, up here. Apparently not there. We'll just put this, like, on this lip. There we go. And then this one I'll put over here. Actually, I'll connect it to here. There. Now that's definitely not going anywhere. And, I mean, this is just a giant mess of struts, to be sure. But that's fine. It is very Kerbal. Can you connect that, like... I guess that works. That's very Kerbal. Sure. We're going to come on over here. I think we're reasonably good at this point. I'm going to call that good. We're going to head back, and Kerbals is now going to need to head home. But that is a job, for sure, for next episode. We're well past time on this one, so that is fine. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings. And if I can get in here... There you go, Kerbals. A very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including Casserole, Sigma162, JJ Gamer, Spartan News, Nick Smarty, Video Games Are Not Real, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.